Hi, Cooper Glover 1972, back with another video in my collection, now where are we? Part 63, I think. Anyways, this is the second box, and we're going to start on part one. I think this is going to have to be more than one video. Anyways, let's start with the first film. I did do a video on Ridley Scott, and I know I think I didn't put. I think I'm pretty positive that almost dead positive that I didn't put this in there. And I bought this at a library book sale. I sort of regret buying it because it wasn't the version I wanted to buy, and I just felt like buying it as it's dumb of me to buy this when I wanted to buy the other regular version, but it's the American Gangster because the other one I think has this is just an unrated extended edition and the original theatrical version, but it doesn't have all the special features. So maybe I'll get the one that's the regular one. I don't know. I haven't watched this yet. I think I hear it's a really good movie. Next one is a movie directed by Robert Zemeckis with Tom Hanks. Castaway, where Tom Hanks' character he's on a plane and it crash lands into a desert island in the Pacific, and he's the only one that survives. And I think the film's like 3 hours long, or I don't know, it's long. I think people have had mixed feelings about this movie. That's the way I think it's gone, but I guess it's an okay movie. It's got a lot of special features. Maybe that's why I bought it. Commentary by Robert Zemeckis and the crew, and Charlie Rose interviewed Tom Hanks. Documentary on Wilson, the other character, which is just a volleyball island featurette, special effects vignettes. Survivalist is surviving as a castaway. HBO First Look documentary, storyboard to film comparison, concept art gallery, theatrical trailers. There he says, I have created fire, and there's Wilson right there, the beach ball. I guess he creates a character out of the ball because he's all alone there. This next one's a documentary. It's about a director who's lived quite a life, and he's directed some really great movies. Anyways, the film is Roman Polanski, Wanted and Desired. The documentary basically focuses on a child rape case he was involved with, him as the defendant, and it's what he did was he had a 13-year-old girl, I think, over at his house, was it? And he drugged her. He had her naked. I don't know if he had sex with her. I'm not quite sure on that. But he was put up for trial on this, and he had the judge allowed him to leave. Maybe he paid bail or something, but he allowed him to leave. He went to Europe. He went to this like beer fest or something in Germany, and the judge got pretty pissed off. And when he had to be in court another time, he decided to flee the country, and he's never been back since. And that I think he fled sometime in like 1977 or 78 or something like that. He's never been back, and he's a pretty interesting character because his whole family was killed in the Holocaust except for him and his father. He made a movie about that kind of element. The based on that kind of story, he made a movie called The Pianist. I think it won Best Picture. I'm not sure. He won Best Director, and Adrian Brody won Best Actor. Incidentally, veering off a little bit, but just to say something interesting about that movie, I think it's the last shot, or maybe one of the last shots, is an homage to Ken Russell's The Devils, with like a smashed out wall and all these destroyed buildings that are on the sides of a road. But anyways, so basically almost his whole family was killed during the Holocaust. And then he grew up in a communist country, which is Poland. I think he had trouble with Knife in the Water, which is a great movie, one of my favorites. And maybe his greatest, at least one of his greatest movies, one of the greatest debut movies of a director. I think he had trouble with the Polish censors on that, but it did get through. And it did get an Oscar nomination, but it lost against Fellini's 8.5 for Best Foreign Film. Was it the second film he made? I think the second film he made was Repulsion with Catherine Deneuve, which is a masterpiece. And that was made in England. And then he made Vampire Killers or something like that. Somebody on YouTube has mentioned the title to me. Wolf Grants, he said, Fearless Vampire Killers? If you remember, well, something like that. He starred in it, Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski's been in a few of his own movies. He directed another movie. I do have it in my collection. Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, I did show it. Okay. What is the name of it? What do you call it? Cul-de-sac. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that at some point. But going back to Polanski, so anyways, his first wife was Sharon Tate, and she was murdered by the Manson family. She was also pregnant with his first child, so that's another double whammy or whatever for him. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but another bad thing that happened to him. So he survived that, and then he got involved with this rape case, and then he fled to Europe. He's basically been in France all the time, I guess. But I think he went to Switzerland for a Lifetime Achievement Award, and the American authorities tried to extract him back to the U.S., but they didn't manage to do so, and he stayed in France. And he's married, and I think he's still married to the same woman. She was in a movie that he directed called Bitter Moon with Hugh Grant, and who else was in it? Was it Emma Thompson? And his wife, Roman Polanski's wife, and Peter Coyote. So, anyways, that's Wanted and Desired about Roman Polanski. This film was directed by one of James Cameron's ex-wives. She would later be the first woman director to win an Oscar. But before she won it for The Hurt Locker, she made another movie called Strange Days with Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, and Juliette Lewis. I think I've only watched a portion. Yeah, I've watched a portion of this movie. I think it's supposed to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, Strange Days. I think it's set in the future. Science fiction movie. This movie, it's another one of these movies I have with a wrap around it that I haven't opened up. I have seen this movie before. It's in the company of men. It's one guy sort of teases, well, not teases. He not provokes. Maybe intimidates is a good word. He gets this other guy and himself to take advantage of this deaf woman that works with them, and so sort of about the cruelty towards a woman. It's a good movie, but it's not very. It's not a happy movie. It's kind of a cruel movie, if you will. It's on over 50 top 10 lists, including Time Magazine, Washington Post, Rolling Stone, Siskel and Ebert, and Entertainment Weekly. It's got director and cast commentary, and I think, Aaron Eckhart's in this, so Maybe I think this was before he really became a big star. But I haven't seen Thank You for Smoking, and he was also in Dark Knight, where he became Two-Face, and I think he's been in some other movies. But well, I shouldn't say that, but movies I don't really recall or know about. But I think this was one of his starting roles. Next, this is the remake. I'd like to see the original. I think the original was directed by John Carpenter, but this one, yeah, this was directed by Rupert Wainwright, and I guess it's produced by John Carpenter. But I'd watch it anyways because I like watching movies in general, even if they're remakes. It's a Flog. Don't know really anything about this. I've also heard of another movie that's based on a Stephen King book that I read. I used to read Stephen King a lot when I was a teenager, called The Fog. This is called The Fog. What am I talking about? The Mist. I'd like to see that. And I think it's kind of similar to The Fog, I guess. This movie, it's a horror movie. I think it's supposed to be crappy special effects, really cheesy special effects. But at some point I'll give it a watch. Brotherhood of the Wolf. I think it's French. Maybe they speak English in it. Harry Nowell's of Ain't Cool News raves a remarkable film, As Cool as They Come. So that's a good recommendation. He's a pretty interesting. He's a pretty good barometer for cultural movies. He at the Alamo Draft House, they had this documentary on Netflix called Raiders. It's about these young men when they were kids and teenagers. They made a shot-by-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark on a low budget, and they finished it when they were adults. But it's a documentary. It's called Raiders, and in reference to Harry Nowell's, they were showing the Raiders film before they were showing. I can't remember the film they were showing, the regular movie. It doesn't matter, but the audience was watching this before the movie actually began, this remake of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they were very disappointed that they didn't manage to finish the whole thing. And but then I guess at some point, I think Alamo Drafthouse was the one, they showed it in its complete length, the Raiders movie, the remake, the shot-by-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Harry Nowell's, I think, was a big champion of that. So he's a big force in the independent cinema world. Okay, next one. It's a horror movie. It's the director's cut, extended director's cut by William Friedkin, The Exorcist. It's signed by William Friedkin. I saw him at Jacob Burns Film Center. He was promoting a movie called Killer Joe, which starred Matthew McConaughey, Gina Gershon, I think it's, what's his name? Emil Hirsch, I think. Thomas Hayden Church, I think, was in it. And but anyways, I had him sign this, so that's The Exorcist. I didn't really talk to him, but he signed it. Anyways, here's I have another mummy movie, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and it's got Brendan Fraser on the front there. Commentary with director Rob Cohen. Preparing for battle with Brendan Fraser and Jet Li. The Making of the Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Jet Li crafting the Emperor Mummy, creating new and supernatural worlds, legacy of the terracotta, a call to action, the casting process, and much more. So at some point I'll look at that. This next one, I think I've watched it. It's a documentary. I bought this at what's that place called? Saturday Matinee. I don't know if they have them anymore. You know, it was a store where you bought DVDs and videos, and they had this, and I just decided to buy it. It's the Magic Fellini. It's got Anita Ekberg on the front with Fellini. On the back here, it's got Fellini with his wife. What's her name? Giulietta Messina, and I think that's Marcello Mastroianni with him. Not sure. I don't know who the other guy is. I don't know if that's Fritz Lang or I don't know who that is, or Carlo Ponti. I don't know who it is. It's somebody. Let's see. So this next film, I gotta say, the behind-the-scenes stuff is fantastic. For just that alone, that's what it's worth buying this movie. But the movie itself is too long, in my opinion, and not that fantastic, in my opinion. Cold Mountain. The editor of this film is Walter Murch. I have a few of his books, and I met him at the Tribeca Film Festival. He signed a few of his books, and I don't know if he signed any DVDs or if I had any DVDs that he was involved with at that point. But anyways, Cold Mountain shows you, let's see, the music of it, the making of it, you know, how they did the sets, and it's pretty fascinating stuff. But the movie, too long and not that great, in my opinion. Film can be long. The pacing was terrible in that movie, I thought. This movie was directed by Howard Hughes. Think about it, yeah. With Jane Russell. I guess it was his girlfriend, maybe. The Outlaw. I got this one, I think I bought it at Costco in conjunction with The Aviator. Martin Scorsese's The Aviator. This came along with it, I think. Something like that. So that's how I got it. And I haven't watched it. This movie I have seen. I think I've watched the actual movie. I've watched the actual disc. Haven't watched it in a while, but it's The Mission with Robert De Niro and Jeremy Irons. It's got a commentary by Roland Jaffe, the director. Documentary Omnibus, which visits the film's South American location shoot and examines the heart-rending lives of the Wanuna Indians who portrayed the film's Guarani tribespeople. This film is about a soldier played by Robert De Niro who kills his brother. Maybe his brother's played by Aidan Quinn. Don't remember. And in order, he thinks he believes he's thinned, the Robert De Niro character. So he joins these priests, who are led by Jeremy Irons, and Liam Neeson makes a appearance in this movie. It's one of his earlier appearances, or earlier roles. He's one of the priests. But it's got a great score by Ennio Morricone. And a beautiful location, beautiful jungle in South America, set in I think the 1700s or something like that. But will Robert De Niro's character purge himself of his sinful nature and become turn himself into a Christian person because he's converting to Christianity by being a priest, or is he going to go back to his soldierly ways? That's sort of like the plot of the movie. So anyways, that's the end of part one of the second box. So I'll be back with the second part of this, and stay tuned, and thanks for watching.